I'm Knockoff Chris Hansen. Tonight we delve into a case that was mishandled by a small margin. A nearly 40-year-old story of a rape in Wisconsin, who was convicted and acquitted, and who was ultimately punished for the crime. Manitowoc County, Wisconsin, just 100 miles north of Chicago, it seems an ideal place, somewhere that's perfect to live. But if watching Dateline in 2020 has taught me anything, small towns in mid-southern Wisconsin are the crime capitals of the world. Stephen Avery of Manitowoc County, Wisconsin was born in 1961. He had a decent upbringing but struggled in school. His life of crime began at age 20 when he was convicted of burglary for breaking into a bar. However, he only served 10 months in the county jail before being released on probation and ordered to pay restitution. The next year, he was found guilty of animal cruelty because he threw his cat into a bonfire with some of his friends. What the hell's wrong with this guy? Can't do this anymore, Fair. You read the damn thing.
I'm Chuck Fair, and I'll be taking over the Knockoff Chris Hansen. While he drinks behind our studio, kind of unfortunately. Avery was released in 1983 and remained on the down low for another 2 years until he ran his cousin's car off the road, pointed a gun at her, and began making threats at her. In all fairness, though, she was spreading dirty rumors about him masturbating on his front porch. While he really denied it in the end, he was arrested for reckless endangerment and unlawful possession of a firearm.
Okay, now we're going to talk about the crime everyone came here for. In 1985, when Penny Bernstein was sexually assaulted and attacked while jogging along the Lake Michigan coastline. Bernstein misidentified Avery as the attacker due to a poor police sketch, and although being out of town during the attack, Avery was arrested and sentenced to 32 years in prison for sexual assault and attempted murder. More on this after the break.
I took NyQuil every winter for 15 years before I found out the benefits of Balsaca, the cold and flu remedy. Whenever I'm out doing non-scripted commercial things, I don't want a sore throat and runny nose disrupting me. Balsaca helps relieve these symptoms, so I can get back to what really is important.
Balsaca does not prevent the spread of cold or flu. Common side effects include, but are not limited to, vomiting, nausea, cramping, diarrhea, muscle spasms, emphysema, cotton lung, cotton mouth, sinus bleeding, red spots on the skin, pertussis, gangrene, bleeding from the eyes, scurvy, cardiac arrest, pulmonary fibrosis, paranoia, insanity, insomnia, total organ failure, and or death. If you experience any of these symptoms, flush all your Balsaca pills down the toilet and run for the hills. Balsaca should not be taken by pregnant women, the elderly, anyone under 18, or anyone at all. In most cases, Balsaca worsens the symptoms of cold or flu.
I've never felt better than being on Balsaca.
This is the acquittal of Stephen Avery on Not Dateline. Welcome back to Not Dateline. When we left off, Stephen Avery of Manitowoc, Wisconsin, was sentenced to 32 years in prison for a sexual assault he did not commit. He appealed for retrial in both 1987 and 1996, but both times he was denied by higher courts. Then, in 2002, the Wisconsin Innocence Project stepped in. The Innocence Project is a non-profit organization founded in 1992 by Peter Newfield and Barry Scheck at the Cardozo School of Law. Their mission is to exonerate innocent men and women imprisoned for crimes they did not commit. They have helped many gain their freedom through nuanced DNA testing, which was uncommon in criminal justice at the time of Avery's case. Stephen Avery's case was one of many cases taken on by the Innocence Project at this time. It turns out that the DNA of one Gregory Allen was found on Bernstein's clothing. Allen had committed an assault at the same beach in 1983 and was on the police's radar at the time due to his criminal history against women. He also bore a striking resemblance to Avery, and a witness misidentification between the two men caused Avery's false imprisonment. However, Mr. Allen was already serving 60 years in prison for an unrelated crime, so he could not be indicted for these charges. Avery was released from prison in 2003 due to the Innocence Project, but by that time his wife had divorced him and his entire family wanted nothing to do with him. Then in 2005 he murdered a photographer with his nephew and was back in jail for good. This wasn't the first time an exoneree of the Innocence Project committed a violent crime after being released, and it sure won't be the last. But that mistried rape is really what this episode was all about.
Does anyone watch this show anyway?
No, old people keep it on because they like the noise and the company.
Oh, really?
Hey, how you doing? Oh, how you remember the 60s? You should probably go to bed. It's 6:30 and your grandkids are coming over tomorrow.